Hey, Jason.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm awesome.
Good.
You want to come say hi? You didn't get to meet my wife yet, did you?
Just briefly, it was just a quick pop in hello.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Lori.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
Gonna get a
Are we,
couple of people in here, so bear with me.
are you expecting a big crowd tonight?
No, I wouldn't say big. I've got a couple of people coming in. It's kind of one of those times you're never gonna hit everybody's calendar perfectly, right? And so I always offer it live and then I record these sessions and it goes into the community. So current members can watch it. Um, at any time watch a replay, but anybody new that comes in can, watch it and have access to it as well. So
Awesome.
um yeah, so it'll take me a couple days. I'll get the recording up and then I'll have all your links that you sent me. I will have all of those in there so people can get in touch with you from there as well. So,
Oh, awesome.
but we'll give it just a minute to see who else pops in and then we'll get going.
Perfect. And where are you?
Currently we are outside of Corpus Christi, Texas.
Much warmer than me.
Well, it is, although I will tell you it's 71 now, so yes, I mean it is. I shouldn't complain, but we haven't seen sunshine in a couple of days and it's been kind of rainy off and on and pretty cloudy. So, that sunshine really makes a big difference when it comes out, and we haven't seen it for a couple of days. So,
Yeah, that can be hard on the old noggin.
it really can. It really can. It's amazing what our brains, especially, I shouldn't say especially for me, but um sunshine, heat, it's really important for me for my mental health. And when that sun isn't shining, boy, it's challenging to get through a day sometimes.
For sure.
But I'm just gonna wait another minute. I just want to give everybody just another minute to jump on, get home from work.
Yep.
I want to be respectful of everybody's time as well, but we'll give it just another minute here and then we'll get going. So,
I looked earlier today, it was 28. Let's
mm,
see. It's 24 now.
yeah, that's chilly. That's chilly.
And they're calling for an inch or two of snow tonight and an inch to three on Tuesday into Wednesday.
Wow.
We've been actually really lucky, unseasonably warm here.
Mm. It's always hard, because where we're at now, they're in the drought is crazy. And I think, how on earth are we in such a drought in this area when it feels like it rains all the time, right? But
Right?
we're currently on like level 3 water restrictions where no washing vehicles, no watering your lawn, no watering your potted plants outside, like literally no extra water is to be used in this area. And, I just look at, our friends, family that live in Colorado and all over, right? That during the winter times, during the times of snow, like it really is important for the farmers and it's important for life, right? To have the snowfall and the rain. And so I would, while I don't want to see snow and I don't want to be in a place where it rains all the time, it really is beneficial, for the environment and everything. So
Yep.
But well, let's get going. If anybody jumps on, then they'll jump on. I want to
Perfect.
get going here and respect everybody's time. So I just want to say a quick thank you to all of you that jumped on tonight. Um, Jason, gosh, did we meet on Alignable?
Yes.
I'm okay.
Yep.
So we met a couple months ago on Alignable, got kind of paired together on what they call a Smart Connect, and that's where you meet other business owners and you have just a couple of minutes, 7 minutes to get to knowing each other and chat. And we met and just found a lot of synergies and some things that we do. And then we connected outside of there. And I asked him to come in and speak to all of you because I think the information that he's got, it's really just it's not for everybody necessarily, but it's for those that really need it. And I don't think that this information is really shared a lot. You guys know that I'm all about sharing information. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to purchase, but I am here to share the information so you can be a more informed consumer, right? And that's what all this is about is increasing our financial literacy, protecting ourselves in a lot of areas. And so Jason, I'm really excited to have you here tonight. So thank you for joining us. And you're going to talk to us about living benefits. And I'd love to hear, you've got quite the story, and I was going to read a little bit of your bio, and you know what? I don't want to. I'd love for you to share it because I think that that really speaks to why you're here, why you're doing what it is that you're doing, and it makes your mission even more powerful. So welcome in. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. And key word you said right there is mission. One of my life mission, my life goal, or one of them is to teach people about these things that you mentioned, living benefits, because if I would have had them 28 years ago, it's kind of, I guess, I have to say, if I would have had them, I wouldn't be where I am today, which is actually, I don't know how to think about that, because I love what I do and I do what I love. 28 years ago, I got thrown out of a car, went off, I missed the edge of a curve and the car started doing cartwheels, and I went out the top of the car, and obviously somebody is going to get pretty banged up from something like that. And I wound up in the hospital for 3 weeks in a coma, pretty major injuries to both my legs, and was off work for over a year, had a brain injury, whole 9 yards. And what happened to me financially after that, I had great health insurance. I had great health insurance, which took care of the medical bills. Health insurance pays for the doctor, the hospital, and medication. It didn't pay my house payment. It didn't pay all of the other things that I still had that go along with living. So these living benefits are a great way to protect ourselves from that. And I don't know, Sarah, do you want to make me speaker view so that I'm bigger on here? So when I draw these things up here,
Yeah.
where is it?
All right. I've got you on for the recording speaker view. You might have to.
Okay, there we go. All right. So anyway, as we're going through our lives, we have income and we have our expenses. We always want to keep our income above our expenses, right? So I always ask, do you know anybody that's had cancer or stroke or heart attack? And we all know somebody, or at least know of somebody, either one of those three things, or maybe somebody like me, like I was just talking about, got banged up in a really bad accident. Maybe they had a head injury or a spinal cord injury or something like that. And I always ask, what happened to those people's income? Our income does that, our expenses do that, and right there is where unimaginable debt starts piling up. 48% of all small business failures, 50% of foreclosures, 63% of bankruptcies happen because of this. And the first question I always get from somebody is, Didn't any of those people have health insurance? 85% of the people in that survey had health insurance. Again, I already mentioned it, health insurance pays for the doctor, the hospital, medication. Doesn't pay the house payment, the car payment, the co-payment, the deductibles, all the other stuff, right? So what if we could inject money into our house right here so that this doesn't happen? I'll show you how we do that. The concept called living benefits been around for about 15 years. The way it works is like this. I always use $1 million as my example because it's easy math. So whether we use 1 million or 500 or 250 or whatever it is, 1 million's my easy go-to math. Anyway, the first way these living benefits will pay is if I encounter some sort of a critical illness or injury. Again, cancer, stroke, and heart attack are the big three. There's other things like blindness, coma, organ transplant, severe burns, loss of limb. There's about 20 different ways under the critical benefit that I can access up to 75% of whatever this number is. So in this case, that's the $750,000. I'll tell you a story about a guy named Dave. Dave lived down in the northeast corner of Oklahoma, a little town called Jay, Oklahoma. At the time, this has been about 9 years ago, I think. At the time, Dave was 48 years old. He had a wife, he had 5 kids, had about a 500-acre ranch that was all paid for, had a little distribution company that he ran on the side, was doing really well for himself. Him and his wife raised their own grass-fed beef. They ate right, they worked out, exercised, all the stuff. Matter of fact, they had a gym down in their basement. The two of them were down there working out together one day, and Dave was doing some bench presses. He set the last one up on the rack. He said, "Ow, I think I pulled a muscle." He sat up, he started sweating profusely. The pain went down his left arm. His wife said, "No, you're having a heart attack." So she loaded him up and took him to the clinic in Jay, Oklahoma. Now, the clinic in Jay, Oklahoma is about the size of my office here. It's not very big. They got some iodine, some butterfly sutures, and some Band-Aids, so they're not treating him for a heart attack. They called a helicopter from Joplin, Missouri to come get him. They flew him up, they got him in. The first thing the doctor at Joplin said to him was, "Wow, this is your lucky day. You were actually having that thing they call the widowmaker." Usually the first symptom of the widowmaker is somebody just falls over dead. But they caught it in time, they got him fixed up. A few days later, they sent him home, and a couple weeks after that, he's hanging out at the kitchen table, not doing much, starts having unimaginable chest pain again. This time his wife calls the helicopter company to come land on the ranch and take him back to Joplin. This time they get him in, they look him over. It's not another heart attack, just some chest pain. They gave him some nitroglycerin and said, "Go home and get some rest." A couple weeks later, all the bills start showing up in the mailbox for all of these events, hospital visits, doctors, medicine, all of it. What I forgot to tell you was Dave was like a lot of small business owners back then. He didn't have health insurance, but the doctors and hospitals weren't too worried. They knew they could file a lien on that ranch because it was all paid for. They could file a lien and they'd get their money out of it. They didn't have to do that. They got a check for Dave for about $650,000 from his critical living benefits policy, paid everything off and didn't miss a beat. The next way is terminal. Doc says I got 24 months or less to live. I can access up to 90%. So in this case, 900,000. Young lady named Amy. Amy lived down in Atlanta, Georgia. At the time, she was 32 years old. She had 2 adorably beautiful little girls. Her ex-husband was completely out of the picture. Her parents had both passed away when she was a teenager. She was it. She was actually doing really well for herself. She sold pharmaceutical supplies to doctors and hospitals, making a great income. But she got diagnosed with cancer. For 2 years, her and her doctor did everything that the doctors and cancer patients are supposed to do. Chemo, radiation, the whole 9 yards. At the end of 2 years, the doc called her into the office and said, "I'm sorry, Amy, this is the worst day of my life. I have to tell you you're terminal. You've got about 6 months to live." She said, "Wait a minute, doc, I can't die. I've got these 2 little girls. There's nobody left to take care of them. We have to do something." Doctor said, I'm sorry, but we've exhausted your health insurance. They're not gonna pay anymore. And I've done everything I can for you. Amy said, well, I was watching 60 Minutes a couple weeks ago. They were talking about this new treatment they have for my type of cancer. Why can't we try that? The doc said, I know what you're talking about. If you've got about $200,000 laying around, we can get started tomorrow because your health insurance isn't gonna pay anymore. So through the tears on the drive home, Amy called her life insurance agent, said, hey, it's me, $1 million policy. Said, hey, it's me. I just want to make sure my policy's paid up. The doctor just told me I've got about 6 months to live. I want to make sure that somebody's going to have some money to take care of my little girl. Her agent was one of the gentlemen that I work with. Said, hold on, Amy, you forgot. You have living benefits built into your life insurance policy. We can get you some money now. So they filed a claim. They got her a check for $872,000. She took that money, went to the front of the line for the new treatment that she'd seen on 60 Minutes, paid for it herself. And in May of 2019, she watched the youngest one of those little girls graduate high school. In April of 2021, she walked the oldest one down the aisle at her wedding. She's still alive today. Her life insurance saved her life. The next way is chronic illness. Chronic means I can't do 2 out of the 6 activities of daily living: toileting, transferring, feeding, continence, bathing, dressing. We think about that, we think about the need for long-term care. And statistically, 50% of us are going to wind up in a facility before we pass away. So between my wife, Lori, and I, she's smarter, she's younger, she's healthier, she's better looking than I am. Probably going to be me, but I don't want to jinx myself. Wait till I get in my 80s, maybe my late 80s. I can't button my shirt. I can't feed myself. I can't get out of the bed to get to the bathroom on time. Whatever it is, I can't do 2 out of 6. Lori's going to say, Jason, I love you, but I didn't sign up to babysit you. You got to go. So she puts me in the facility. Who pays for that? She and I do, out of the money we've been saving our whole life. Now, the average facility, depending on where I'm at in the country and what type of care I need, somewhere between $8,000 and $15,000 a month. So Lori's going to start writing a check month after month. Statistically, I'm going to live there about 18 to 24 months. Then I'm going to pass away. Lori's going to one day come down and kill me again because I will have spent all the money, and she'll live the last 8 to 10 years of her life living right next to the poverty level. Now, when I first got started, I mentioned people with head injuries and spinal cord injuries. There's a hospital in Denver, Colorado called Craig Rehabilitation Hospital. It's one of the top ones in the world. People come from all over the place to get their head injuries and their spinal cord injuries fixed so they can rehab from it. The kicker is all of those people qualify for the chronic benefit, but they're not old. The average age of somebody in one of those spinal rehab type hospitals is somewhere between 30 and 35. So it's not just for when we get older. Chronic benefit pays me 2%. So in this case, that's 20,000. Not very impressive until I say that's per month. Now this is tax-free. This one's tax-free. This one's tax-free. And just like life insurance, if I pass away, that's also tax-free. Now the companies we work with, they pay out about 9 living benefits claims for every 1 death claim that they pay. And the better news is they don't charge anything extra for all of these benefits automatically built into the policies that we work with. So it's about the same price as a policy that only pays if you die. Maybe a little bit more, maybe even a little bit less. I've had them come in less than a policy that only paid if someone passed away. So these are we call these living benefits life insurance, the smartphones of life insurance, the new kind of life insurance, whatever you want to call them. They're an extreme value add. If you need life insurance, why not have living benefits? And you said you're going to put my contact information on here, Sarah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll put it on the recording so they'll have the clickable links and they'll have access to it at any time.
One thing I do want to say is if you contact me to have a conversation about these things. There's never going to be a sales pitch or an arm twist to get you to buy something from me. I don't have any right to sell anybody anything. My job is to educate you and facilitate what you ask me to do for you.
Mhm. Jason, would you talk a little bit, if you can, the difference and why this is maybe more beneficial, or the difference between like disability insurance versus the living benefits? I know you explain living benefits, but a lot of times people will tell me, "Oh, well, I've got life insurance and disability insurance." So can you speak to maybe some of the differences and point those out for us?
The biggest difference is a lot of time with even short-term disability or long-term disability, it's gonna be a percentage of your income that they're gonna pay you. So it's gonna be a really small amount compared to what's available with living benefits. Um, that's gonna be the biggest kicker, is that
Mhm.
you're gonna get a way bigger bang for your buck if you have living benefits as opposed to some sort of a short-term or long-term disability.
Mhm. So there's a question in the comments too, is this like a term policy with the living benefits attached, or is this more whole life, or what kind of policy is this?
They are available in term or permanent policies.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Is the underwriting process maybe more challenging?
The
For
underwriting process is seamless.
Okay.
Um, most of my clients did not have to go through any kind of blood or urine or a doctor's visit at all. I've been doing this for about 9 years, and I think we've had 3 people in 9 years that had to have blood, urine, and the whole physical makeup thing.
Mhm.
So the underwriting process is usually seamless. I've seen people get approved in as short as 6 hours.
Got another comment here, another question. Is it hard to get approved or get through underwriting if you've had cancer or a congenital condition?
Um, if you've had cancer or something like that, usually after 5 years, they will look at you.
Mhm.
If it's congenital, something that's ongoing, it's all case by case.
Okay.
Lori was trying to tell me something.
Not more expensive for term living benefits, so
Right.
if you're looking at life insurance.
Yeah, the term policies are the same price as a policy that only pays if somebody dies. Yeah,
Mhm.
what she was saying.
Awesome. What do you see, because we talk a lot, Jason, and with my personal clients in the community too, it's always about protection, right? Everything that we do is about protection, and that doesn't always mean insurance, right? It means creating our money plans, it means spending according to our values, right? It means protecting in a lot of different areas. And so if you would you go through maybe just the top three um like objections, the top three reasons why people don't end up going for a living benefits? Like, what are they? Because I always like to call those out, because again, I talk a lot on mindset as well, right? In the language that we use. So would you share with us like maybe the top three reasons why people choose to not get it? And I'd like to dig a little bit deeper into that as well.
Sure. I'm young. I don't need
Mhm.
life insurance, right?
Mhm.
I don't have any kids. I'm single. I don't need
Mhm.
life insurance. Or I'm a mom. I don't need life insurance. If we,
Mhm.
I'm sure you know, Sarah, if we took everything that you as a mom did and added it up, oh my gosh. And
Mhm.
what we would have to pay for to replace what moms do, what
Mhm.
stay-at-home moms do, holy cow.
Yeah.
Yes, moms need life insurance.
It's interesting. I just to those points, this speaks directly to it. I had a conversation with a client the other day, and we were talking about just life insurance in general. She's younger, single, no kids, and I asked her, you know, knowing that she didn't have life insurance, I said, well, maybe we should talk about this. And she's like, well, I haven't considered it because I'm younger, because I don't have kids, I'm not married, it's just me. And I said, well, who's responsible even for, taking care of your final expenses? You've got a dog. What about your other? And it just stopped her right in her tracks, right? Of like, oh my gosh, you're right. So, um, not only can a living benefits policy help should something happen, right? Critical illness, terminal, whatever, but should she pass, there are still things, even though people are young, even though they might not have kids, even though they're, single, right? Mom or not a mom, somebody is still responsible for taking care of even final expenses, right? Taking care of the tying up the loose ends. And I hate to say it like that, but there's homes and apartments to clean out. There's cars to deal with. There's so many pieces that need to be taken care of. And so when we're looking at our finances and we're looking at our income, we want to protect our income, but we also want to protect ourselves. We want to protect our family, right? And so I think this definitely can be a great option for most people. I don't want to say everybody because that really lumps a lot of people into a category, and I'm not here to do that. But I think for most people, this is a really great option. I'd like to open it up. Do we have any more questions? I
I'll
know
tell,
this. Oh, go ahead.
I'll tell you another story, Sarah. We had a guy, one of the ladies that I work with, she lives in Denver. She went to high school with this, with a lady, and the lady reached out to her and said, hey, Kristen, you sell life insurance, right? Kristen said, yeah. Well, my husband and I need to come talk to him. So they sit down. The wife had already had cancer. She was only 3 years out from cancer, so she wasn't going to get covered yet. The husband was a specimen of health, 42 years old, um, builds houses. Um, I mean, just built perfect shape, right? So the husband said, no, I don't need that. The wife said, yes, you do. The husband said, no, I don't. The wife said, yes, you do. So like a good husband, he listened to his wife. About 7 months later, he started having up to 15 seizures a day. Turned out to be a glioblastoma brain tumor. Um, he got a big check under the terminal benefit as well. His was about 880,000. Um, and it actually prolonged his life. They gave him 6 months to live. He actually lived for a year and a half after that. He was able to go to MD Anderson in Houston and seek out some alternative treatments. And plus it took the emotional weight off of him, took the weight off of his shoulders. He didn't have to worry about money because now his house was paid for, the kids were set up. And again, he was able to seek some alternative treatments that kept him alive a little bit longer. So that's one of those, I'm young and in health. I'm young, I'm healthy, I don't need it. That's when you do need it, is when you're young and healthy.
Insurance is never going to be cheaper, and it's never going to become easier to get, right? The
Right.
best day to get it and the cheapest time to get it is today, right? It's never going to be cheaper and it's never going to become easier. Jason, a lot of times what I recommend to people, because depending on where people work, if they are employed, sometimes with benefit packages, we get offered, cancer insurance or critical illness insurance, through the group plans. And sometimes, number one, people don't understand them, but I generally recommend take advantage of, some of those policies. Certainly take advantage of the life insurance policy, it's group, but then you always need something outside of that. In your experience, and I don't necessarily want to say how does it compare, but would you recommend people take advantage of, like, the critical care insurance or the cancer insurance through their group policies at work? Or do you find that maybe those don't pay out and having a separate policy, just one separate policy, is better?
Well, I know Aflac is good about paying. And I say Aflac specifically because I have experience with Aflac.
Mhm.
I know Aflac in particular is a really good value add. They pay out on their accident policy very well. The cancer policy pays very well. So if it's affordable, if it's something, a lot of times you get a really big discount for having that through your employer.
Mhm.
So if it's something that's affordable to you, it's not gonna break the bank, then most definitely at least take a look at it. And then, like you were talking about, the group term life through your employer, it's usually, it costs you about this much money. Certainly take advantage of that.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. You know, I always recommend that we take advantage of that because like you said, the out of pocket is minuscule. It's pre-tax dollars, right? And so we really don't recognize, we don't even realize that we're not getting those dollars, you know, in our weekly paychecks or monthly paychecks. But I always recommend having a policy outside of it, right? Because again, insurance is never going to be easier to get and it's never going to be cheaper to get. And so once we lose that job or we leave, even if they offer us the ability and the option to carry that insurance, cost wise, it's generally not going to be as cost effective, right? And so having a policy outside, and for anybody listening, having a policy outside of your place of employment is I would say a priority. Um you know, it's you're again protecting yourself, right? And that everything we do, we want to go with that in mind. We want to have that thought and that premise. How am I protecting myself? How am I protecting my family? How am I protecting my income?
Yeah, you know, real quick, I'll just kind of illustrate that a little bit. If we're talking about our financial house, the foundation of any building project, or I'm sorry, the first phase of any building project is the foundation, right? In our financial house, protection is that foundation. We always want to make sure that's set up first, because what we know is if our foundation is in place and the bad winds of the financial world blow on us, our house, if protection's in place, our house will stand firm. If it's
Mhm.
not, the house is going to fall over.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. We when we're putting the money plans together, right? We've got like an essentials, like the non-negotiables category, and insurance protection falls into that category, right? Those are the essentials. Those are the non-negotiables when we're looking at our money.
For
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah. Any other questions? If not, Jason, any final thoughts? Anything that you'd like to share with us that thank you for sharing. I mean, you've given us a ton of great information, but any final thoughts, anything else you'd like to share?
My pleasure. Again, I love doing this. Love teaching people about this. Love working in this industry. I just want to reiterate that if we do have a conversation outside of this meeting, I want to reiterate that my job is to educate you and facilitate what you asked me to do for you, not to twist your arm into buying something from me.
And that's really important for me as well, right? That and that's why I asked you to come on here. I don't ask a lot of people because, you know, if commission breath is the first thing that I smell when we talk, right? Then I'm like, yeah, and this conversation's done.
Yeah,
It really is about education and helping people. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I'm going to put all of your links. Jason, I don't think that you included, do you have, let me just look really quick while I've got you on. Did you happen to send, okay, so you sent a couple of video links. Where can people find you? Do you have business pages or something that they can follow you on social media?
yeah, social media, you can find it under my name or Lori Hanson or Midwest Family Financial on Facebook.
Okay.
Websites, midwestfamilyfinancial.com. If you want to reach out, if you want to give me a call, my phone number is 308-520-8459.
Okay, perfect. And if it's all right with you, I'll just put all of that into the notes so that way it's all easy access for everyone.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for being here. I appreciate you, and everybody else, I appreciate you. Yeah, I hope you have a good weekend, or I guess we just started the week, isn't it? It's Monday, a good week ahead.
Great way to end Monday.
Right? All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you all soon.
Take care.
Mhm.